Hello, welcome to my top 15 favourite fictional characters of all time, one by one, every week. I won't get stuck into an explanation because I feel like the title is pretty self-evident, so instead, let's get stuck into the rules. Rule number 1, one character per franchise. I'll try and stick to that, but knowing me, I will definitely cheat at some point. Rule number 2, no rules. Rule number 3, okay, maybe some rules, like for example, I don't want characters like Ponyo, Scooby-Doo, Pingu to fill up the list. Like, actually, let's be honest with myself, they probably would. For whilst that may be a more faithful account of the truth, you don't really want to see a 2-minute video of me talking about Pingu's little feet. No, I want to give you the full range of fiction, of character archetypes. And if there's a couple that are kind of the same thing, we'll combine them together. And finally, at the end of every video, I'm going to leave like a little silhouette, an outline of next week's character. That's where you come in and try and guess who it is. That's not for you, that's just for my own entertainment. The winner gets 5 internet points. Number 15, Ray. Ray, my sweet summer angel. A strange first pick, sure, but when people ask if I've ever fallen in love before, I can point them to December 2015. Daisy Ridley's eager-eyed dream hero is just the most likeable introduction to a character I think I've ever seen. It is staggering to me that people did not gravitate towards this character in the same way I did. And I fell in love hard. Not for Daisy, I know your body weight and height statistics on the internet Ridley, but actually the character Ray herself. Now, I am not a keen Star Wars fan. My diehard knowledge of the series goes up to about 2006. It's limited to Revenge of the Sith Visual Encyclopedia and Star Wars Battlefront on the PS2. There's only 3 or 4 of the franchise I can even say I like, and to me the peak of Star Wars is still Star Tours, the Disney ride. But Rey is special, and more than any other character, I think it's largely performance-based. Daisy Ridley imbues Rey with such a unique kind of naivety. Who am I is hardly a unique character motivation, but it's all the more interesting and a little bit meta when the world is very clearly expecting her to be somebody. And that motivation becomes pressure. Star Wars doesn't view Rey's quest to find herself as a positive thing. Peel that veil back a bit and it turns out that naivety is very deeply rooted desperation. She doesn't just want to get involved in this fun space adventure, she needs to. Her future and her identity rest on it. I really like next generation stories. I've come to see this with a lot of my media. And I really appreciate the way that Rey is becoming the torchbearer of all 3 of the old trilogy protagonists. In the first film, she inherited Han's Millennium Falcon. In the second, she inherited Luke's lightsaber. She wants a sense of purpose so badly, she will fashion herself into an archetypal hero Jedi. Like the ones she's heard about in stories. Not to throw the lore at ya, but I remember my library had the Force Awakens prequel book. A key part of her backstory is that Rey was brought up on the mythos of the Star Wars universe. Raised on the same stories of the original trilogy that we were. I need to find the rebels and be trained by a Master Jedi. Rey is a character who is going through the motions of a hero narrative. She is walking in the steps of the good guy because that's what she's been taught she has to do. I swear, if I see the internet misuse the term Mary Sue one more time, it's gonna be drastic. Rey is an incredibly flawed character. She is naive and dependent, and not only does this get her in emotional turmoils, but it also gets her in physical dangers. Remember when Kylo just catches her because she runs into the forest? Incredibly stupid move. She also grows attachments and father figures way too easily and much too quickly, and doesn't really seem to see the problem with that. Talk about impressionable beyond belief. She's a character who wants to find herself so desperately, wants to explore so far that she will find that no matter where she has to look. Her mind goes immediately to the dark part of the island. Watch the Kylo and Rey fight again. She copies his movements and his fighting style and throws it right back at him. Look at that stance. The Last Jedi did wonders for this character, but that dark spark was always there. And then in The Last Jedi, I feared her that day. Picking a favourite moment is of course really difficult. There's that gorgeous line about all the green in the galaxy. But I think my favourite Rey moment comes in the finale of The Force Awakens. Luke's lightsaber jostles around in the snow. JJ builds on this. The tension rises. Is this Luke Skywalker's crowd-pleasing entrance? But no, the lightsaber falls to our new protagonist, to the next generation. And if that was an intentional misdirect, it's a good one. I'm not a Star Wars theorist, I'm not in that deep, so why, at Christmas 2017, did I cheer audibly in the cinema when Rey's parents were revealed to be nobodies? Well, number one, because I have no cinema etiquette and should probably respect those around me. Number two, because I was just so engrossed in one character's struggle. I want to see her explore new ground. Rey and Kylo are next level protagonists, exploring the moral nuance of Star Wars' normal good and evil dichotomy. That's unheard of in Star Wars. We've seen every other pop culture staple have to grow up over the years, and this was Star Wars' chance to do that. Notice how I'm talking in past tense. I don't have high hopes for Rise of Skywalker. But when I do see it, it will only be for these two characters. Rey and Kylo aren't just moral grey. They're subversions in disguise as archetypal heroes and villains, and they always were. Exploring new ground for this franchise. Nuance. Questioning narratives and breaking the cycle. And that's the issue. Will Rey be anything new? A naive Destiny dreamer with twinges of chaotic evil? She's purposely familiar, and she's a parallel so interesting that she may be even too bold and therefore antithetical to the Disney formula. In short, Rey might just be a bit too interesting for her own good. And that goes for Kylo as well. She's the lowest on the list because I understand she's still a work in progress. Everything I have talked about in this video could easily be undone. Say what you like about Johnson, but he took The Force Awakens' blatant plagiarism and soft reboot nature and made it seem intentional. It's not just a lazy Luke and Rey parallel. It's not that The Force Awakens ripped off A New Hope. No, as these two characters have learned, we're going in circles. And for any degree of closure, one of these characters has to break the cycle. I hope it's Rey. See you at Christmas, Abrams. And there we have my first pick. But whilst I still have you here, I've Mrs. Ridley, if you are watching, I have written you a poem. Okay, come on, Sam. Been waiting for this moment for 4 years. Rey, I think of you when I am alone. Rey, please do not be a Palpatine clone.